In this episode, I want to share with you how a dog taking a crap on my front lawn is helping me to navigate through some of these uncertain times with the coronavirus. I'm Angus Pyke and welcome to the Marketing Your Practice podcast. Now, before we talk about that, let me check in. How are you during these wild times? Now, at the time of me recording this now, we're not having to self-isolate. Yesterday, I had a really beautiful morning in practice with my patients. I had a great opportunity to care, to show compassion, to deliver great adjustments. In fact, I was really excited to go into work. I woke up, as I have been of recently, asking myself the question, like I've talked about in previous episodes, how can I serve today? It's a question I'm asking. I was really looking for it because there's so much fear, which is understandable if they don't have the same health IQ and understanding and knowledge that you and I have, and they're watching the media, then it's no wonder that that people are terrified as well. So I think now more than ever, compassion is a good thing to be sharing with our community. In today's episode, I want to share a story with you about, I guess, one of the frameworks, one of the filters that I'm looking through all this craziness with as well. So I'm filming this now from my home office, my studio that I have here, and just to the right of me, for those of you that are watching the video, there I have big open window that's maybe 2 or 3 meters out onto the street. It's a quiet suburban street. There's not a lot of traffic going past, but occasionally I see people going past with their dogs. And you know that I'm a dog lover. Many of you, if you've been following my content for any time, have seen my German Shepherd Conan. But I do have a couple of peeves about dog owners, okay? So one is this, is when I go to a cafe and they have somebody else's dog up all over me, I'm thinking, hey, if I wanted a dog over me now, I'd be home with Conan. I want some peace and quiet and I want to enjoy a coffee. Sometimes I think dog owners think that because I love dogs, that you should too. And I do love dogs, but just not all the time. Sometimes I want some time to myself. My other big pet peeve number 2, which this story will unwind in a moment, is about dog owners not picking up after their dogs have crapped all over the place. Huge frustration. If you've ever been to Paris, it drives me nuts. Anyway, so I'm sitting here, I'm working away one afternoon and I noticed somebody going past. It was a person with a dog. I noticed the dog stop out on my front lawn out the front here, and my spidey sense antenna went up as I watched there too. And sure enough, this dog took a big dump on my front lawn. Now, the guy who was walking the dog, he can't not see me because we're quite close here, but he had his back turned to me sheepishly, and I was watching what he was going to do next, and he didn't pick up after his dog, and off he went. Now, I was filled with rage. Like this, it's so insensitive, it's arrogant, it's all of those kind of things there too. And I was about to jump up and run out the front there and give this guy, a sense of what my thoughts were. And I stopped for a moment. The weekend beforehand, Lauren and I had been up to Sydney to see Gabrielle Bernstein. She wrote a book called The Universe Has Your Back and a bunch of others, and she's like neck deep in woo-woo. If you're into woo-woo, then check out Gabby's stuff. We did a day program with her and it was fabulous. It well surpassed all my expectations. I loved it. One of the things that came out of that program for me was a real need for me to work on patience. I'd noticed, particularly over the 12 months prior, that I'd been getting more and more impatient. It would show up when I was in the lines at a supermarket, at the post office. It would show up when I was driving, not road rage. I'm not an angry dude. But, I'd find myself changing lanes to save all of 3 seconds. It was just unnecessary. It was showing up with regards to some of the goals that I had for the practices and for ADIO Media, the podcast, all those kind of sense there too. So I had this sense that what I needed to really focus on was patience. Now, enough so that it stopped me in this moment for running out after this guy here. I went, dude, it's not that big a deal, I told myself. Sit back, relax, take a few deep breaths. Now, as I did that, I clearly got distracted back to working with what I was, the program I was working on beforehand. Because it wasn't for another 15 or 20 minutes that my attention was distracted again out the side window, the same guy back again. But this time, what I noticed really changed and has had a huge impact on me over this last few months, because he came back again and this time he had a plastic bag and he bent down and he picked up his dog crap and off he went. And it reminded me, because I'm guessing at the moment for many of you in practice, personally, at home, it may feel like the universe or the coronavirus has taken a massive big dump on your front lawn. Like it's what it feels like for many of us. uncertain and fear around what's happening. Are we able to see patients? Are we not? Many of you are already noticing a real downturn in terms of your income. Perhaps you have to look after your children and stay home from work. There's worry about that. Others of you will have family members who might be at much higher risk as well, and so you're worried about them. I mean, I'm worried about my folks. They're in their 70s and they're healthy and they're doing great things to look after themselves, but there's definitely an elevated level of concern for me as well. And the thing that I would want to encourage you to do at this moment is to be patient, because after every red light is a green light. And I think back to that situation with the dog crap on my front lawn. I think if we extend that metaphor out, there's two processes or two opportunities that we can choose. Both of them begin with you and I with a commitment to staying centered, to making sure that we're choosing our emotional state, as opposed to letting the the media, our community, our patients, our family, as opposed to letting them guide our emotional state. A commitment to staying centered. And when we can stay centered and we can breathe and we can be patient and stay with the philosophy that this too will pass, then amazing things happen. Sometimes people come back and pick up their own crap. Over in China at the moment, we're already seeing things start to open back up. Businesses opening up, borders opening up, streams of businesses starting to return to as they were beforehand. You know, that's part of my strategy at this moment too. I'm remaining patient. And the second option, and the second thing that I could have done with that dog crap out the front there is I could have stayed centered, and then I could have taken action, and I could have gone out the front and I could have just picked it up myself. And that is part of the step that I'm doing now at the moment also. Metaphorically, I'm spending time inside of my practice with my patients, ramping up the amount of service that I'm giving them. That doesn't mean I'm spending more time with them, but I'm creating more videos. I'm working to be even more focused on them. We're giving them directions. And there's three things. We've talked about this before, and I want to talk about it again, and I will talk it again in the future as well. Leadership, that's what they need. And we can only have leadership when we're focusing on others and not on ourselves. Leadership means that there needs to be awareness in there too. The second thing is compassion, gang. We forget sometimes, because for many of you listening to this now, you'll be just thinking that this whole coronavirus, like Corona Smona, what's the big deal, man? More people die of heart disease, more people die of the flu, all that kind of stuff. And maybe it'll turn out that way. I don't know at this stage. My inkling is probably that's true there as well. But the vast majority of the people that don't have the health IQ and or the lens that you look through the world that don't have that, they're incredibly fearful because of the information that's been given them. So compassion is what is needed now more than ever. And the third thing is strategy, direction. What can people do? How can we start to empower our audience, our patients, to let them know that they're way more in control of their health than what people will let them know? That dog taking a crap out on my front lawn reminded me of the importance of patience. And I think about it all the time, and particularly in these times right now, these uncertain times. Again, remember, after every red light comes a green light. Those three things to focus on: leadership, compassion, and direction for your patients. As always, gang, thanks for all that you do. Keep saving lives. Your community needs you now more than ever. I'm here to help too. Thanks for listening today. I'll be back real soon with another episode. Take care. Bye. If you enjoyed listening to this podcast, you have to come and check out the Community Influencer Program. It's my monthly coaching program where we take all this material and I'll work one-on-one with you to apply, implement, systematize, and help guide you and your practice to the next level. Now you can join me on over at adiomedia.com/join. That's adiomedia.com/join. I'd love to see you in there.